What's up, y'all? In this video, you are going to see us do a walk with our new lead project manager, Grant. He is awesome, he's on fire, and I can't wait to get him in front of the camera more. We're also walking with Venditti LLC out at the $1 Million Pool. We are going over a ton of new details for excavation and concrete. Let's get into it. All right, so now that we made a ton of progress with demo, it's a lot easier for us to go and lay out our next steps, see what's actually there and what we actually need to do. And speaking of the demo, I know a lot of you guys loved that video. Let me just give you a little clarity on this. We do dozens of these demos a year. Earlier in my career, when I was more of a bleeding heart about this stuff, I was like, let me try to gather everything I could and donate it. And we took so much time and effort. I pulled all the cabinets off the walls. I pulled the countertops off. We put them in neat piles. I put out on my socials like, hey, come and get it. And all these people were like, oh, you know, this is great, but it's just not the right size. And I had dozens of interactions with people that didn't come through. And then the people that ended up actually coming were like crackheads and degenerates and people you don't want on a job site. The other thing is, at Habitat for Humanity, they have some really great resources, right? But you gotta get everything there. And a lot of the time, you'll go and they'll tell you, oh, we already have a bunch of that. We don't really need that stuff. They don't come and pick anything up. This is just a tough subject, and I get it, you know? I like where your guys' heads are at. Like, you don't wanna be wasteful. There's actually ordinances in Austin, even when we demo all that stuff, when we send it out, it all gets processed. So like all the wood will get separated. They'll separate out the stone. We actually have to recycle 50% of all the demoed materials. I do appreciate y'all commenting. Even if it's negative, I try to respond, but ultimately, time is money. We're getting in, we're getting out, but selfishly, it is fun. And it's an amazing stress buster for me, and it's something that we're probably gonna keep doing. Good morning. We are out here at the $1 Million Pool, and we are discussing excavation for our sport car garage and the new foundation over there. We got Johnny Boy out here from Venditti bringing in the big guns, and we got Grant Buchanan.
What's going on, John?
Our new project manager. This guy is the stud. He's been here a week. He's meshing in well. He comes from a really high-end commercial background. He's going to be an amazing asset for us, but we have some really, really tricky elements here. So we have our plans out here. Let's get into it. So we have to excavate all this solid rock. This is going to be a 2-car garage all the way back to that wall. Okay, and then here's the thing. We have that as our benchmark. That is the second floor. This comes up, the new detail shows 10 feet tall.
Yeah, I think we're pulling in here like this. You got a wall back there.
Yeah, so this wall right here is going to be about 10 feet.
And then you'll have a new higher level up there.
Yep.
That joins in.
And then all of this slab right here.
And then we have fun stuff going on over here.
Yeah, this part is fun.
Let's get
into it. And the other thing is, so this is that existing rock wall. This is going to be a new retaining wall. And we're probably going to cut this wall down to a certain height. We don't know exactly, but this wall, which is right there, is going to move over slightly. First off, did you see the gate? Can you get an excavator through that thing? And there's trees on both sides of it.
Okay, so I am your concrete guy. So my questions are going to be more along the lines of how are we going to pump concrete to this? How are we going to, I mean, we can do it. There's not a problem. But, you know, coming out through Westlake in the hills, you're going to have short load trucks, probably maybe 8-yard trucks out here, maybe some line pumping involved.
So we've actually,
trailer pump, you know.
yeah. So we've actually done boom pumps for the pool down there. And we got the boom pump all the way to here from down there, which is about 40 feet below. But I mean, I think right here, the elevation isn't too bad. If we just got a trailer here and did a line pump, I think we'll be good. But I'm just wondering, like, if my F-350 can fit through that gate, can we get a decent sized excavator? Enough that's going to be able to chew through all this rock?
I mean, this isn't even necessarily excavator territory. This could be
Chipping hammer?
big, medium.
Rock saw?
I would suggest like smaller pieces to just go and go do it, because in the excavation world, this is not that much rock.
Yeah.
And the more agile you can be, the better off you are.
Can we pull up the detail for this? So basically the engineer is saying, if we don't disturb this rock wall, this is just cut limestone. And if we don't disturb it, we're going to be good. I think the architects were hoping that we could excavate this lower portion, just so we have space to walk around the backside.
Okay.
Existing limestone cut to remain. So then we have new footer. This used to be 7 feet. Now it's a 5-foot footer.
Yep.
And then our wall's only 10 feet now instead of 20 feet. Then he said, we'll just backfill all this, and then we have our drainage down there. And then the other thing you have to think about is, like, on that side of the property, there's like a ravine. So, like, if we can get our water over to there.
Oh yeah, getting rid of the water won't be a problem. One thing I am seeing though, this bare limestone. I agree. This is not.
Yeah, previously excavated, just cut limestone.
All right, so we're going to be, what, 10 feet down from this ish? 10, 11 feet?
Yeah, basically.
Currently are, yeah.
So imagine you start cutting this, and instead of looking up this wall, the wall's up there. Well, the engineer can say what they need, but there might need to be, so like there is what's called type 1 rock, or what you do not have to bench back or provide some sort of a system to keep it from caving in. I wouldn't, mind putting personnel down in a situation like this, but once it starts to get
Deeper.
where we're deeper and we're only this far away from the wall, then
It's going to feel a lot different for sure.
and it's according to OSHA, it has to be either bench back or supported in some way. And it's not impossible to do. It's another system. It's a different engineer. Could be the same engineer. They could design something a lot of different ways to slice and dice it. But according to this, you got 3'6" for your footing, maybe another foot. So where I'm standing is more or less
where the footing's going to land.
the footing's going to land, and you've got this pike spot that comes down in here.
He could probably design some benching and shoring for that.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of room to bench because you only have you've got to build this wall. You've got 4.5 feet. Usually that's 3 feet to get your personnel and your people back in there.
Right.
But so I would think some sort of a
Soil nails or shotcrete.
soil nail shotcrete type of thing.
So you can shotcrete that wall. You can just spray that wall.
They have these things that they'll basically like mini piles. We'll put them in at an angle, and you put like a wire mesh over it and shotcrete it, and it kind of retains that.
Oh, cool.
Here. That can be tricky with landowner rights though, because you're technically in.
Well, the property actually goes quite a bit that way.
Really?
Which is good. So we own, or our client owns quite a bit of this, which is good. Okay, so Grant, let's make a note to talk to our engineer about if he has any suggestions for shoring this.
Yep.
This wall right here is going to come out. And behind that is a similar condition. Like there's no dirt. It's all retained by that rock wall. So this retaining wall comes out. This is going to get pushed back a little bit. They're going to give us exact details on that. The height of this wall is going to come down maybe to like 4 to 6 feet or something.
Are they just going to saw cut it and leave it there? Okay.
They, meaning you.
Okay.
Is that stuff you guys normally do, or do you want us to handle it?
Well, if it's precision demolition wall sawing, we would normally sub that out.
Okay.
If what they would do is hook up a rail and just run it along and saw cut you horizontally there, or pop a line and get you an edge going, like just cut it a little bit and then hit it with some machinery. But I don't know how. Once we start getting all this stuff going in sequence, they could probably get something up here now to do that pretty easily. But, later on,
When we start excavating all this.
there's quite a bit of coordination that's
Right.
involved with all this.
So now there's a few things going on here. All of this gets expanded out. We have the garage right below where you're standing. So that is going to be, I talked to them, and I hope it reflects on there. That should be, we have this existing retaining wall here.
Which is down below.
Right here.
Okay. No problem there. You're just putting in a regular slab on grade. This is probably the easiest part of the whole project.
Yeah, right
in here. I could probably build this for you right now.
Yeah, this is where the old pool was. We have the elevator shaft and the new stairs. which is going to be a little tricky.
And where does that begin relative to where we're standing?
You would be basically right here.
So there's obviously a grade beam here, right?
Yep, little gray beam going.
So we got a grade beam. We don't want this to sag or anything, but this is solid rock. How do we get a pier? He said worst case, we can drill the piers at a bit of an angle. He's okay with that. But he was saying if everything looks stable, we might not need the piers, because that would make our life a little bit easier. Then we have elevator, stair. And then basically those stairs are all going to be formed out of concrete as well.
So all the rest of this pool is gonna obviously
Come out.
This is a doozy. So we know this goes down probably not very far.
Yeah, what do you think? 18 inches?
Yeah, 24 probably on solid rock. I mean, if the engineer thinks your rock will hold, that's fine. But the way he's drawn it is he wants 3 piers along here, which would obviously mean that if they're straight shaft, which I know we're talking about angled, then you would have to penetrate, cut out the beam where you want to drill the pier. But once you put that pier in, it's not really holding anything up at that point because you've already taken the slab.
Exactly.
That is. So you would end up having to rebuild the slab on top of it when you pour your pier cap, and probably it'll hold if he, checks off on it. Probably a better way to do that. And then once that's done, then what he's drawn is somehow this wall gets poured directly underneath the beam, which would be not only the wall, but you've got this additional drain that undermines the rest of the slab even more. So then you start getting into a condition where you've got the portion of your slab cantilevered over a void, which can also be tricky. So
I think what we should shoot for is to try to just dig this out as clean as we can, keep that limestone intact under there, and see if we can just go that route.
So you're advocating for a sheer path down this, but then eventually we will have to go in here and take this, so there will be nothing underneath there, which would, if your engineer is saying that we can have this void and this will all still support itself, that's fine. And there's ways we can pour this wall flush up against that once we get the, you got to get your slab in first. Or maybe this just bears straight down and then you tie your slab into it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because this is all rock, and rock is generally pretty porous here. It's got fissures and whatnot. This could be reduced, and somehow there'll still have to be some sort of a backside waterproofing. But again, we don't have a form to set nice sticky waterproofing on, so it has to be something that's back in against the rock. And the way I'm used to doing these is having an over excavation, building your wall, waterproofing, backfilling.
You think that we should get on a video call with the engineer to just discuss that condition?
I mean, he's essentially showing just like leaving the existing grade beam floating over our excavation in order to get this new wall in, and then building the wall back up.
And then it's going to support that grade beam. How do you guys feel about that, though?
Yeah, not good.
It's odd to just you let this thing sit here for a month, 2 months while we're doing that. It's just essentially all this weight's just pulling down on the slab.
Yeah. What do we feel about, what if we just saw cut out this portion, literally just took out that whole beam? We can temporarily support all of this back over there, and we just rebuilt that whole beam, and we could tie it into the existing slab there.
Well, yeah, if you want to do that, then cut it back. Then you can come in with conventional means. You can drill some piers, score back your slab, and then you've got what the...
Boom. I mean, I think that's going to be the easiest path forward.
And the only way to have this thing, hanging in, floating in air for...
Right. Yeah. Cut it all back, get rid of the beam, and then we're just going to put in our piers. We can go straight down at that point, and then you could just re-pour that grade beam, dowel it in to the existing slab, and call it a day.
Call it a day.
Good idea, John. A really good idea.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get rid of that, and then probably take some of the other fill and fill it back in so you can get some kind of...
so you can drive over that.
You can drive something up and in here. Yeah, this addition will have to be kind of backed out.
You want to go check out the pool? Man, just like a week ago, this house was fully here. We did a good job tearing it down. But I mean, it's kind of hard to grasp just how ridiculous this pool is without coming out here. 35 feet out of the ground. We filled 8-inch compaction. There's piers that go down through the whole thing. Had to pour the wall in 8-foot sections. I think we're just at a point where, dude, this is taking a long time. We need some bigger machinery. We need a little more manpower. Your hungry, insatiable boss wants to get into residential concrete, so we're trying to make that happen.
He's gung-ho.
Yeah, we did a whole episode on you guys. Just talked. I mean, it's pretty impressive what that guy has built. Now I back myself into a corner here. Look at all that water. There we go. It's okay. Look at that. Wow. Kudos to me. Yeah, we're opening up that wall because the stairs are going right there. This is where the stairs are going to be. So we're going to have to cut all this out. The stairs are pushed back that way, but they come down kind of right there.
Yeah, so once you get everything built over there, then that would get cut out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, come out here. Imagine if there ever comes a time that someone wanted to get rid of that pool. Look at that. Years.
Yeah, I almost would have built that like just elevated it, just had a platform and some columns and then, dressed it out on a lot of that out here.
Yeah. Like I want to take all of that earth that we moved for like that whole path, everything we're excavating out there and just backfill all the shit. Bring it all in as much as we can. Do you have any other questions so far?
Oh, many.
Yeah.
Many questions.
I mean, all these walls are super complex and, think about just getting the formwork to be this square and stuff. I mean, man, we had to check this thing, you're trying to pull string line, make this all level 35 feet tall. It was a lot of coordination. Well, cool. I appreciate you, man.
No problem.
Thanks for meeting out here. And thank you.
No problem.
Really appreciate you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Look at this. It's like Christmas Day. Look who we got back out here. Good old Tommy boy. What's up, Charlie? Yeah. So look, now we got a ton of coordination here. We got concrete. We got demo, earthwork. We have to coordinate all of this. And Tom wants all my business. So he wants my dumpsters. He's a greedy little Italian. But we're going to coordinate. This is going to be a tough one. We're going to get it done. I will keep y'all updated on everything to come. Tons of coordination. We got to get into the details, but we're going to have to just bite in at some point and go for it.